All right, let's dive into one of the most powerful tools in any coder's toolkit, Python functions. Seriously, if you want to write cleaner, smarter, and way more efficient code, this is where it all starts.
So let me ask you something. You ever find yourself copying and pasting the same few lines of code again and again? Maybe you change one tiny thing each time? It's tedious, right? And it's just asking for mistakes. There's got to be a better way.
Think about it like this. Imagine you've written some code to draw a dog. Awesome. But now you want another dog, this time with gold ears instead of brown. Are you really going to copy that entire chunk of dog drawing code just to change one color? No way. And that's where the magic of functions comes in. And that brings us right to the solution. Functions. Honestly, you should think of them as your coding superpower, especially when it comes to fighting repetition. The whole idea behind functions is incredibly simple, but it's a total game changer. You basically package up a set of instructions into a neat, reusable block. You write that code one time, and then you can call on it whenever you want, wherever you want, as many times as you need. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty and break down what a function is actually made of. The best way to think about it is like a recipe. You've got your instructions, your list of ingredients, and then the final dish you get to create. First up, you have the function definition. This is the recipe itself, the complete step-by-step instructions for a task. In Python, you always signal that you're creating a new recipe by starting the line with the keyword def, which is just short for define. Next, we've got parameters. Now, what's a recipe without ingredients? A parameter is basically a placeholder in your function. It's like writing add color here in your recipe. It tells the function, hey, we're going to need a color, but it doesn't decide which color just yet. And then there's the function call. This is the moment of truth. This is when you say, okay, recipe, it's time to cook. You're telling your program to go find those instructions you wrote and actually run them. And when you do make that function call, you have to provide the actual ingredients. These specific values are called arguments. So if your parameter was that color placeholder, the argument you might give it is the actual string gold. Okay, let's pause and see how this all fits together. This is like the complete recipe card. See at the top, it starts with def draw framed label. That's our function definition. Inside the parentheses, you see the parameters, value, x, y, and color. Those are our ingredient placeholders. All those indented lines below, that's the body, the step-by-step instructions. And that very last line, that's the function call. That's us actually using the recipe, handing it the specific arguments it needs, the text go team, some coordinates, and the color gold. All right, enough theory. Let's see this stuff in action and actually build a simple function. This is where it all starts to click. Okay, let's walk through this. On the left, we've defined a function called draw big square. Super simple. You can see it takes just one parameter, color. The code inside, it tells it how to draw a square using whatever color it gets. Now, look at that last line on the left. That's our function call. We're telling Python, hey, run draw big square, and we're handing it the argument orange. And the result? Exactly what you see on the right, a big orange square. And this is where the real power kicks in. We've got our orange square. Great. But what if we want a blue one? Do we have to rewrite all that drawing code? Nope. We just have to change that one single word in the function call. And boom, here it is. We use the exact same function, but this time in the function call, we just swap orange for blue. And just like that, we get a blue square. We changed one word and got a completely different result, all while reusing the exact same code. That is what efficiency is all about. So we know we can change the ingredients, but what if we want to use the same recipe a few times to build something even more complex? Well, that's where multiple function calls come into play. Check this out. We've got a function called draw big star that needs two things, the number of sides and a color. So we call it once and give it the arguments 4 and black to draw a black star. Then, right after, we call the exact same function again, but this time with 5 and gold. Python just runs the recipe a second time, drawing a gold star right on top of the first one. One recipe, 2 calls, 1 cool image. Now, before you get too carried away building functions for everything, we got to talk about some important rules. How you name your functions is super important for writing code that not only works, but that you and other people can actually understand later. So you can't just name your functions whatever you feel like. Python's a little picky. Names have to start with a letter, they can't have spaces, they're case sensitive, So say hi with a capital H is totally different from say hi with a lowercase h, and this is a big one. You can't use words that Python has already reserved for itself, like def or if.
And here's exactly what happens if you break that last rule. The code on the left tries to name a function break. But since break is a special word in Python, the whole program just stops and throws a syntax error, which you can see on the right. Python basically gets confused and has no idea what you're trying to do.
But this is so important. Just because a name is legal doesn't mean it's good. I mean, look at the example on the left, def fzq. Sure, it'll run, but it's totally meaningless. If you come back to this code in 6 months, are you going to have any clue what f does or what z and q are? Probably not. Now compare that to the one on the right, def draw hello label size color. It's perfectly clear. You know instantly this function draws hello and that you can change its size and color. That's clean code.
So the general rule for good naming is simple. Keep it short and clear. A lot of programmers use a style called camel case, where the first word is lowercase and then every word after it starts with a capital, like draw big star. It just makes longer names way easier to read without using spaces. And that's pretty much it for the fundamentals. We've covered what a function is, how to define it, how to call it with different arguments, and why it's so important to name it well. You now have the blueprint for writing code that's powerful, clean, and way easier to manage. So I guess the only question left is, with this new ability to package up your ideas into reusable blocks, what are you going to build first with your new coding superpower?